everybody. This will be my presentation for becoming a weathercaster. It's part of the final assignment for AVIA 340, Aviation Weather. I'll be going over some weather products pulled from government web pages, the NWS. METAR from the FAA. I'll be comparing that over to local observations here at Fort Irwin and compare that to what's being reported down at Barstow Daggett, where I work out of and I fly out of. It's about 40 minutes away, but conditions are pretty consistent. And then I'll wrap into a conclusion about some go no go criteria I have, and then also speak a little bit about implications of using AI, and then summarize the accuracy of my comparison between my observations and Barstow Daggett's. So my local observation up here at Fort Irwin, I literally walked outside the house, looked around, snapped some pictures. It was a beautiful day. We had clear skies, consistent winds from the west, temps were around 75. I didn't see anything going on out on the horizon in any way that looked like potential weather coming in, or it could be any hazards. Things you really can't see, though, are, let's say, winds aloft, or more so in the way I fly at the lower altitudes. Turbulence, especially mechanical turb moving around the terrain. As you can see, that's Mount Teaford out there. It's about 5,500 feet tall. And then beyond that to the north, it's a whole mountain range leading into Death Valley, a little bit further out north once you get out of the restricted area. But pretty much the whole area I operate in is going to be terrain like that, mountains everywhere, a lot of mechanical turb once winds start picking up beyond 15 knots. All right, now we're going to compare that to the METAR pulled for Barstow Daggett. This was a couple hours later, but the conditions have been consistent all day, shown here on the decoded. Temps 24C, so we're probably about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than that here when I took that photo. So maybe it was 85 degrees, 80. Maybe I'm not that good of a judge on what the temps are, but I wasn't sweating, and I didn't feel cold. It just felt very comfortable, so I thought 75 was appropriate. Winds from the west, 280 at 6, so that checks exactly what I was observing. And then visibility and ceilings, like I said, it was absolutely clear and beautiful out there. No ceilings, some little wisps of clouds, but nothing of significance. The only thing to consider out here where I operate is within all that terrain, we'll have units come out, like a battalion or brigade size element come out and train with us. And for a week straight, dudes are driving around in tanks, track vehicles, armored personnel carriers, 5-ton pickups, bulldozers, Humvees, and there's just dust everywhere. So even though it's not an actual meteorological conditions, kind of man-made or man-induced, it is something to factor out here when it comes to visibility, especially when I'm at terrain flight altitudes, cruising around 5, 10, 15, 20 feet across ground, doing like 80 to 100 knots. Come around the corner of a piece of terrain and there's a big dust cloud, it can be a nasty situation real quick. So here's some of the NWS data I was looking at. I got the radars here on the left, and I selected the helicopter chart, so it shows 5,000 and below, and it checks with what I was seeing this whole west coast. And you can see all the way from Chihuahua going up into Oregon. Beautiful weather. And then you go over to the prog charts, these pressure gradients charts, shows high pressure zones out in the area. The big thing I'm looking at here is we got this little anomaly right here, but everything else shows is these nice wide pressure gradients, nice consistent high pressure zone. But looking at where this line is right here, I should be right around here at the tip of the arrow. If you guys can see that, might not be, but either way, right there at the California Nevada border, on the southern tip, we're going to be in that high pressure zone with those consistent pressure gradients, which is going to give us really favorable conditions, or at least that's what I would interpret. Moving over to my conclusion. Personal go no go criteria, winds. We have 45 knot, or I'm sorry, correction. For my go no go criteria, I'm going to apply some personal, and then the ones I have also for my aircraft. Winds, I have a 45 knot limitation on the aircraft. My comfortability level is once we get beyond 35, it makes it really hard to touch down from a hover, especially when we're burned through most of our fuel and we're really light. Visibility, visibility is not as big of a factor out here, just because we don't get the precip or haze or anything like that. So usually when we have conditions like that, it's going to be associated with ceilings, and that's going to be the big factor for me. Ceilings, because we do have terrain out here that's 5,000, 5,500 feet consistently. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I have a work limit of 1,000-foot ceiling, so I'm legal to fly in 1,003. However, I don't want to go fly into that terrain with 1,000-foot ceiling, especially if conditions are going to worsen. So my personal comfort zone is about 3,000-foot ceilings if I'm moving around in the terrain, so at least I can catch the majority of the terrain and pick up the shape of the terrain as I'm maneuvering around in it, and don't get kind of caught off guard by more things popping up. Temps, we have an ISO 35, or I'm sorry, yeah, it's 35C plus 15 basically, no greater than 50C. As long as we don't exceed that, I'm perfectly comfortable flying in the high temps out here. It really doesn't get cold, and I believe we have like a negative 20C limitation on the aircraft. For hazards, specifically for weather, the biggest thing that I would encounter most of the time, and I'm thinking of most of the time, is going to be winds. What are the winds doing? If they're coming from the west, out of Barstow Daggett, they're more than likely to be coming from the north up in Fort Irwin, because kind of the way the terrain funnels it in, and then it's going to cause a lot of mechanical turb. And then if we do have a weather cell come out here, it's typically short and violent. So the winds are going to be nasty, a lot of precip, and lightning. Implications of utilizing AI. I think I don't personally use it. I don't mess with AI that much, but I think it is a useful tool for data analysis on the behalf of the NWS and the FAA and other weather agencies. And I think it could be a really useful tool as long as people aren't relying on it and really letting AI be the one pulling the trigger or making the final decision. It's a good way to aggregate data, filter through it, and then put it out in a easily digestible product. But we need to have competent people observing that stuff and giving it the final run through. And then for my observation accuracy, I think I was pretty consistent with what I was seeing outside, and what the METAR brought out or reported was pretty consistent. So thank you for watching my presentation.